I purchased this little greenhouse from Ikea a couple weeks ago because the small one I had didn't look that great and it wasn't working out as well either. So I figured I'd do a little video on it, show you how it looks and some of the modifications I made to it. Nothing real major. Real quick, I live in Florida, so when I talk about cold, I mean Florida cold, which is incredibly cold, is 40. So just remember that since this is outside and everything, it doesn't get incredibly cold here. So, you know, this is fine for what I need. If you're in a much colder climate where it is actually cold, I don't think this would work well outside. All right, so let me begin. I have it closed right now because it's been sitting and it's all warmed up, and I wanted to show you how warm it gets. Right now it's actually about 65 degrees out, and it's all closed up. In here I actually have 3 seed mats and then one regular heating pad just to add extra heat when it gets cold out. So on the outside it does have the little vent holes. It's got one here, it's got 2 on the back over here, and it has one right here. Some of the little modifications I made, and you'll see more when I open it, is I did put a thermostat on this. I don't think you can't really see the temperature, but the thermostat here is saying it's 83.6 inside. I don't exactly trust this thermostat. It's just kind of a backup, just in case it gets a little too hot inside. It'll kill the seed mats. So this whole thing, the whole major portion of it, is controlled by a smart plug, which is this one right here. And what it does is when it senses the temperature is below 75 degrees, the entire greenhouse turns on, with the exception of the heating pad because that's supplemental. So all the seed mats will turn on and the greenhouse will warm up, which is really nice. So let's open it up real quick. I do recommend, if you want to do this, an external, a separate thermometer. This is what it is inside the house, and then this is what it is in that greenhouse. Because as I tried to show you on the thermostat, on the external thermostat, it says that it's 84 when this is the actual temperature inside the greenhouse. And as it gets colder out, that external thermostat tends to be a little more unreliable. So if you're going to do this, I definitely recommend a different thermometer, a separate thermometer to regulate the temperature. But like I said, the smart plug is one safety fail on there, or one safety guard, and it'll cut the power to the greenhouse when the temperatures exceed 75, 76 degrees outside. And then the thermostat, you're going to have to just monkey around with to get the right temperature. It'll kick the heat mats off when the internal temperature reaches what it thinks is 86 degrees. So I'll try to show you the thermostat right here. As you can tell, you can't really see it too well, but it says it's heating and that the power is on, and so you can see what it says, the temperature it is. It's actually fairly accurate right now, but you're gonna hold this to set it. See, I have it listed as 92 only because when I read it with the internal thermometer, that's when it'll kick off, when it's the actual temperature. It's kind of confusing, but it somewhat makes sense. So when you need to change the internal thermostat, you hit set, you hold it until it starts blinking, which that's what it is doing now. And then you use up and down to pick your setting. It does have Fahrenheit and then it has Celsius. I have it on Fahrenheit. All right, so here's the actual greenhouse. Has a little zipper right here. And then to make sure this doesn't get all chewed up, I have 2 little magnets that I'll stick to help keep the door stay open a little bit. So this is the inside of my greenhouse. I got little baby seedlings going here, and I have one little guy so far, and not much else going on here. And then these are my current seedlings that have been doing really well. The bottom down there, that's just dirt. I'm doing some more seedlings, as you can tell right over there, but there's no seeds in those yet. So right here is the thermometer probe. I have it hanging up from the top just because heat rises, and I figure that would probably be the best place to stick it. So it's kind of a crapshoot if you think about it, because, you know, technically the middle would be the best spot. This is my thermostat that just tells me when I take the other one inside, and that helps me gauge the real temperature. Underneath I have one seed mat, and then another one here, and then one just sitting down here. And then this one here is just a really cruddy heating pad that I didn't like, and that stays on all the time. And I put those directly under the seed mats because the seedlings are the ones that need the most heat to kind of maintain themselves. These guys, they don't need nearly as much because they're more of a stable plant. And then on the bottom, when it gets really cold and it gets probably 50 and under, I'll put my smaller patchies on that shelf to help keep them closed up, get them just a little warm. So this is what I did, and it holds quite a bit of plants, as you can tell, for something so small. And I really like it. It's worked really well. I have it in the shade just because I feel that it kind of will help regulate better in the shade. Also, the sun in Florida is really harsh on the plastic here, so I figured this, you know, being out of direct sun would help it. What is nice is Ikea sells the shelf and this little plastic part separately, so if this gets damaged, you can just buy a new one. It literally just slips right over it, and you know, I can take it off during the summer when it gets too hot and just put it away, and then bring it out when it starts cooling down again. So overall, I really like it, and this whole setup is really easy to disassemble. Like this, since this is just taped up here, I can just real easily take the tape down, and everything goes through the little hole there, and then it's like back here with the cords, and all the cords are tucked underneath the greenhouse. So it's a relatively easy setup and tear down. So, and then the shelves would just be used for storage for the plants during the summer. Like if it gets too rainy out, and just put them away in there, or just to keep whatever supplies with. So anyway, the whole thing cost about 20 bucks. The shelf itself was about 15, and then the plastic covering was 5. So when I go back to Ikea, I'm most likely going to grab another one of these tops because I don't really expect this to last incredibly long. I have a friend who said he had something similar, and the plastic lasted about a year. Just Florida sun is just horrible on plastic. But I'm hoping with it being in a relatively shady area that it might prolong the life. So anyway, the seed mats, in case you're wondering, I got them off of Amazon. These are the little seed mats, and they're these ones right here. So they're really nice, and what they do is they keep the seedlings about 10 degrees over what the outside temperature is. So that's really nice. They do recommend using them with the thermostat, which is what I have on the outside there. Amazon just sells a whole bunch of different types. I use these because these got the highest reviews, and it came in a 2-pack. So when you take them out initially, they're really crumpled up. They're just rolled over, and they don't flatten out easily. But once you heat them up and then just set something heavy on them, they'll stay flat. So if you do buy these, I recommend before you put them on the pots and seedlings, take some cinder blocks, flatten them out, and then just let them run for about an hour or so, and then they'll completely flatten out and just really work well. So here's the information on it, and I'll include a link to this and then just a link to the Ikea site with to buy the greenhouse here. So if you live in Florida and you're using it for the occasional cold days we get, which I think we had maybe 2 or 3 weeks of cold weather, this is a great little setup for you. However, as you go up north, I wouldn't recommend this outside at all. I don't think it would do well. But for Florida, Central Florida, and more southern, I think it's a great idea and works really well for me so far. So I hope you found this video enjoyable and helpful. Thank you.